Let's Talk Small Business, the real talk, no BS podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to grow and actually enjoy the ride. I'm Mitchell Wilson. Let's get into it. Welcome, Kat Campbell, real estate agent superstar, let's call you.
Okay.
Agent X business owner, disrupting the industry. And look, I guess local hero for charities as well. Kat Campbell, Let's Talk Business. Welcome.
Thank you.
Cool.
How are you today?
Look, I'm doing great. But I really want to hear about you.
Okay.
And I guess we're trying to go on a journey here to help other people at the start of their journey, maybe, with their business.
Mm-hmm.
So while we've had history, probably about 15 years, have we known each other?
Yeah, it would be about 15 years.
Yeah, cool.
16, it must be 16 years actually, I think.
Yeah, we're going counting. And we're still talking, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Tell me, where'd you start your career? Right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning. So I was where I first met you. I started real estate with Harcourts in Nelson. Did my training through their academy, and spent a few years with them, learning and training. It was good to be in that model at that time, and then from we got lots of good training around New Zealand, a lot of auction knowledge, and that was really cool. Enjoyed that. But then I felt like there was something missing, while it's a good model, it's obviously a great model because it's still around and it's doing its thing, but it was just feeling a little bit too old school for what I was after. Not much, I guess, it wasn't very creative out there, so I was like, right, what else is out there? At that point, I moved from there to Mike Hero, which was the new kid on the block at the time. And at that point, you used the word before, the disruptor. It was disrupting the real estate fee structure, and it did turn a lot of things on its head. It was really good to be in that brand when it first arrived into Nelson, and again worked alongside yourself there, and we obviously had a franchise as well. Went down that route, and again interesting being on the owner side rather than just the salesperson side. And yeah, again, it was a good learning curve, but it just didn't quite fit the mold. And that, I still wanted to be able to be a little bit more creative. I wanted to be able to do things a little bit differently and not have to go and constantly ask head office for approval to do so. So it was like, right, what's next? So this would be coming up 6 years ago. I decided that it was time to branch out onto my own platform and do my own thing and not be a big brand anymore, that we would be a boutique agency instead.
There are a lot of people out there that talk about it, but not many people that do. How did you get the courage to do that? Like, was it even a thing, or was it a no-brainer?
No, well, it's a scary process, and I guess that's why a lot of people stay where they are, because things are comfortable. People stay in the same house because it's comfortable. You might have slightly outgrown it, but it's too hard to go through the packing, the refinance. Let's just stay. It's the same sort of thing. It was just like people get comfortable. And I toyed with this idea for probably 3 years, or at least 2 years before actually, making the jump to it. And the times that the conversations kept coming up were when I'd sit with my accountants, and they would look over my accounts and they'd be like, man, do you know how much money you're giving away for shit you don't need? Like, marketing for a company, marketing the brand, franchise fees. And I was like, I don't actually want to know. And they were like, well, we're telling you that it's a lot of money. And if you invested that into yourself, it would, it's got to do you well. But again, so then I'd go, oh, yeah, okay, right, let's do it. And they'll go, we can talk you through some plans on how to do this. And we're like, yeah, okay. And then I'd come away and get comfortable again, get busy with properties coming in. And it's like, I can't see a gap. There's no gap to actually take to be able to do anything. And setting up does take time. And it was like, well, okay, I'll put that to the back burner. So I did that for a couple of years. And then and I guess I'd sat at the top for my Pero for a little while, so good earnings had been coming in, but that equally meant, again, the accountants in my ear going, that's a shit ton of money that you're paying out for franchise fees and overall marketing fees. Are you sure you're not going to do something? And I was like, oh God, here we go. So then I was like, right, let's just do it. Let's throw caution to the wind. There's never going to be a right date. Every day is going to be a busy day. We just have to figure out how we're going to manage it and just get on and do it. Potentially my exit from the franchise wasn't exactly how I planned it to be, but hey, it never is. But we got there in the end.
So tell me about that some more.
Really? Do you really
Yeah. No, I do want to hear.
Well, so it had been in the back of the mind that, yeah, look, we're going to do this. We're going to get on with it.
So this is exiting your franchise and moving into your own company in real estate.
And so it'd been, like I said, it was like, yeah, okay, let's look into doing this. There was no time frame on it. There was going to be a time frame of potentially in the new year. And we were still sitting in September. It must have been around about August. We're sitting around about July, August, September kind of thing. And it was like, right, well, let's make a game plan that we're working towards after Christmas, after New Year, head into the new financial, because it's going to take a bit of planning. We've got to do branding. We've got to, formulate everything I need to understand what I'm doing. So we'll just sit it in the background. We'll have some check boxes, and we'll start working away on some bits and pieces. So that was sitting there. I had tentatively reached out to a marketing company to assist me with my branding, style guides, all of that sort of thing. And we'd had a meeting. It wasn't a casual chat. It was a good couple of hours debrief on the phone while we unpacked some things, or video call or whatever, while we unpacked some things. And they were like, look, it's going to take at least 6 to 8 weeks to get some branding based on what you're giving us. And then from there, we're going to be leading into Christmas. So, yeah, timings look great for something in the new year. I was like, okay, cool, this could work, right? Off we go. And unfortunately, anyone that's worked in real estate knows real estate. If you get, if someone in your office or your franchise or your management finds out that you're contemplating a move, it's a move that will happen very swiftly, and it's a very quick exit. They're afraid of what you might take, confidentiality, all of that sort of thing. So somehow something had got out, something had got wind into the head office, and so then I started getting phone calls from the head office saying, "Hey, look, I don't know what it was exactly. I feel it was probably they were reading my emails, and one of them was very innocent. Two of them were very innocent that got me caught. One of them was that caught." One of them was at the time, a girlfriend and I were trying to buy a commercial building, and they put one and one together and numbered it 3 and determined that I was buying the building for us to work out of.
Was that the case?
No, it wasn't actually. They were 3 very well-established businesses running really well, and we were just looking at it as an option. So that was one of the scenarios, and the other is I think that my accountants had advised me to set up my own, through IRD, set up my own trading names through there. So I'd done that, and we were moving my accounts and reshuffling how we were doing things as part of the big scheme. And as I said, I think that they may have had access to my emails, and there's no secrets. There's always big brothers and the corporates and that. And so then they rang me about my IRD registration that I did, and I was like, okay, but I was actually just doing what my accountants told me to do. Anyway, so it's a long story. So anyway, they took wind of this and decided that was me formulating to leave or to go out on my own. So they literally, this would have been it was around about the 15th of September, something like that, and they gave me my notice. They sent me a letter.
Oh, so you didn't quit?
No, I got asked to leave.
Push you out the door.
They pushed me out the door. Hey, sometimes it's better to get in first, so maybe they just thought that. So they gave me a letter of resignation, or, whatever you call that now.
Did they give you a reason?
No, they just said that they understood that I may be contemplating leaving and starting my own, and so they were giving me 5 days to clear out my office and end a contract with them. And it was just like, what the heck? So no phone calls on it, just a letter, an email saying, you're done, get out. So then I was like, oh God. So I remember I was like, oh my God, I've got an office full of like literally shit. What am I going to do? And so I had to call a friend, help. So I called a couple of friends and they came down. One came with a trailer, one came with the car. And we literally just loaded the whole office into the back of a trailer, and I was like, now what do we do? So then we took it back to my house and dumped it all in the garage, and then I was just like, I've got no clue what we're doing, what's happened, what's going on. So it was a bit of a head spin because it happened so quickly, and it was very funny because our old office, the franchise office, was next door to another real estate company. And they saw me packing my stuff up and leaving. And I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get phone calls. So then the next day, I just put a post up to say, it's the end of an era, beginning of a new, watch this space, because I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen yet. And
how far away were you from actually being ready with your own business at this point?
We literally, like I said, we'd only had this one brand meeting. And they said to me, we'll be at 6 to 8 weeks away. And that was like literally a week before. And they were like, we'll be at least 6 to 8 weeks away before we can give you some ideas, some concepts. This is what we're, because I'd said I don't want to do anything till the new year anyway. So they were like going, that's fine, we've got time. And then, so then I was like, oh shit, I don't even know where to start. So the first thing was pick up the phone and I was like, one, told my accountants, hey, guess what? Going out alone. The second was ringing the marketing company and saying, hey, 6 to 8 weeks. Well, we've got 6 to 8 days. How does that sound? So thankfully, I knew what I wanted with my branding, with my logos, my colours, all of the style guide and all of that sort of thing. So it was, they pulled it. They did a really good job. We got it all sorted. It was probably we relaunched back into the market because I had to bring new properties to the market. I had to bring them back in, and we came back in on them. So we started with our first listing live on the 19th of September. So it was literally 2.5 weeks. Of 24 hours a day just working, and I had an amazing PA with me, Michelle, she was with me, and I had Steph who was working with us at the time as well, and they just literally were at my house for those 10-15 days, and we were just knocking as much as we could out of the park. The tradies trade me, and at the time it was Property Press. They were phenomenal. I rang them and I was like, so this has happened, and because obviously I had good relationships with them because I'd worked with them for so long. So it wasn't like a cold call, hey, I'm Kat, I'm just starting in real estate, can you help? But I rang them, explained what was going on, and they were phenomenal. They also got all of their creative teams on board, got everything, because this process normally takes a good couple of weeks. We didn't have longer than 10 days. So they were amazing and pulled out all the stops, and at the time Property Press, they were really good, and obviously Trade Me as well. So having that great support around made a huge difference, but it was definitely some long days and late nights, early mornings to get everything.
So it sounds like you put it together in 10 days, this whole business.
I wouldn't recommend that at all.
If you hadn't have been pushed or whatever the case was, realistically, how long do you think it would have taken you from knowing, starting up the business and making the move?
It was happening. It was going to be happening in the new year. It would have been a launch into the financial year was what the plan was going to be. So it was 6 months early.
6 months early.
6 month premature baby. It was just a little bit premature. But you know what? That baby arrived as Casey and Co Real Estate.
Yep.
Well, we started off as Campbell and Co, and we merged over into Casey and Co as the team started to grow. So we became Casey and Co Real Estate fairly quickly, and having a great team around from the get-go. You know, that it's just, that's what's made it. That's what's, you know, it is about a team. It's not just one person. It's all of us together. And the team's growing, and so Tony, that used to work with us and the franchise as well, she very quickly came on board with us. And I had another salesperson, and we were just like, right, let's go. Let's just do this. We've got no choice, and we're going to make it work. And we did, you know, and we have, and we do, is what I should say.
From your whole real estate career, being a salesperson, let's say, forgetting about being a business owner, but I know there's so many agents out there that just don't make it. There are ones that do make it, I would say, and get in that top 10, 5%. Was there a moment for you when everything clicked, or alternatively everything just fell apart?
Well, I wouldn't say it's fallen apart because we're still here. There's no room for things to fall apart. That's my mentality, is we've just got to make things work. So like when I got the letter, opened my emails, and it's like, money, I swear. I was like, what the? Honestly, that's what it was like. It was a shock. It was like, I have no clue. It was like, wow, okay, right, we're done. And I could have just thrown the towel in there and gone, oh, well, I'll just go to XYZ Real Estate. But that wasn't an option. Like, I didn't want to work for someone else. It was time to do my own thing. And just, you know, like, unfortunately, I don't know, people, you know, sometimes they do poo-poo you wanting to do your own thing, be out in business on your own. People will knock an idea. And that sucks, because you should at least let people try their own thing first. If it works, it works. If they've got what it takes to get there, then good on them. If they've got what it takes to even have that idea in the first place, then I think you should fully support them and go, hey, good on you. Even if you don't necessarily think they're going to make it, you should still support them because of the fact that they've come up with an idea, or that they've said, hey, look, I'm going to give this a go. So there was a, you know, like I would hear around the traps, people say, oh, she'll only last a couple of months, you know, give her. In fact, I even had a meeting with one of the managers, owners of another one. He wanted to have a coffee with me, and we were about 2 weeks in to be in Casey and Co. And we were about 2 weeks in, and he called me to have a coffee. Never spoken to this guy in my life. He wants me to have a coffee with him, and he tells me, look, it's very hard to make it in real estate on your own without a brand. So just so you know, the door is open at my company for you, because it's not likely to succeed. And
Did that feel like just a massive slap in the...
Yeah, that's all the more reason why. I was like, there's no way that I'm not going to... I don't care what it takes. We will make this work, because I'm never going to work for that company. I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make a supportive brand for others that might, I call it a brand, a supportive avenue for people to come and work with us if they choose to, and not be like the others, you know. So I was like, no, I'm good. I'll starve.
Hey, we'll fast forward a couple of years. So Casey & Co. is up and running. It's not just you. You've got a team of agents, an office, established, and selling how many properties, would you say?
Sorry, you busted me on a tee. I don't actually know the numbers of all of, like, do you mean across the whole board, or?
Yourself across the whole board?
Well, across the years, you know, been averaging pretty well. We're sitting anywhere between the 50, 60, kind of 70 mark. It did, obviously, it slowed down a little bit for myself, as my focus has been in other directions, like with my sales team, building the brand and working on other business ideas. It has slowed down, you know, always had a good track record, but that's okay. And it's still...
If you're selling more than one property a week, there are agents that may sell one property a year. So you're doing all right.
Yeah, well, we're definitely selling more than one. I'm definitely selling more than one a week, one a year. That's not a real estate career. That's a hobby.
Yeah. So I congratulate you for that. But I used that word disruption before when I introduced you. You're at Casey & Co. And now let's talk about Agent X. Okay.
So
For those that are uneducated, first of all, what is Agent X? And then we'll go back to how it all happened.
So Agent X is a platform that is designed to assist salespeople that don't want to work within a brand and would like to work for themselves, but have the support in the background. So they run their own brand or their boutique agency or their company. And they do all the sales, they do all the marketing, they do all of that sort of thing. But in the background, we take care, or Agent X takes care of all of their compliance, oversees their administration, has the day-to-day interaction with the trust accounts and the lawyers, and offers that support on that side. So, and Agent X was born. Shall I go through?
Yeah, idea to execution. How did this all happen?
So Agent X was born out of COVID. This is a COVID baby. So we had a preem baby with Casey and Co, and now we've got a COVID baby. To work on my own as Casey and Co, I needed to have a license. So I'm a licensed agent. I did my study through skills and have a national diploma in real estate. While I was doing my study and obviously running Casey and Co, and I'm thinking to myself, why don't they work for themselves? Like, my accountants are telling me this, surely other accountants are telling other people, you pay a lot of money to the brand, you've got a good name, you could do it yourself, right? And I'm thinking, why don't they? And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought it does get into the too hard basket. People don't want to leave because there is a lot involved, not just leaving that existing company that you're within and starting. There's all the background. There's the AML compliance. There's the trust accounting. There's the contracts with the lawyers. There's administration. There's the compliance with the REA. There's so much in the background that it's not like you decide today that you're a chef and you want to open up a pie shop because you can make really good pies and you've got the ingredients. It's not like that. There's so much. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be derogatory because there's probably a lot more to that as well. But there's so much in the background that you have to take care of, and that then becomes oh God, that's too hard. I can't be bothered. Just leave it with the franchise. They can deal with the trust account. They can deal with the compliance. So then the idea came. I was like, oh, hold on, maybe this is a gap in the market that we could fill, and offer this service, this platform to other people that are brave enough to step out on their own, to people that aren't afraid of, taking a risk and giving it a go as their own company, those that want to extend themselves outside of, getting more from themselves and what they can get out of a brand, having flexibility, having the freedom to explore own marketing styles, own techniques, being a little bit edgy, just being different, and just knowing that you've got the support in the background. So that's where it came from. That's where it was born from, is just sitting there going, why? Hold on, I know why, because it's too hard. So hold on, how can we change this for people? So then I started formulating. My team gets really worried when I come to the office and they're like, oh, I've got this idea. In fact, actually everybody that knows me says, oh God, here we go. So I put it to my brother and my husband first, and I was like, hey guys, what do you reckon? I've got this idea. And they're like, give it a go, see what you got. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I tell the team and they're like, oh my God, okay, this sounds exciting. I think they were not happy. But yeah, so then again, it started just a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, trying to figure out what do we do, how do we piece this together, what does it look like, how do we bring it into. So it took about a year of just actual sitting down, planning it, no, that's not going to work, but this could work, just all different sorts of scenarios. And there was a lot of money spent in that first year with lawyers, and even I did have some admin stuff in that first year that we didn't have any salespeople, but I needed to start formulating things. And so there was a bit of an expense in the first year just to try and get things up and running from there. And then it was like, right, we just need to push go, because otherwise, same thing, when are we going to do this? When are we going? I was like, there's no time like the present. Let's just push go. So and it's so basic. I kind of cringe now when I think of running the ads that we put on to social media, because it was like, well, I think that's going to be the way that we reach our people is through social. So I put on a very, what I'd look at now and go basic advert onto social media, and the next morning I put it on that night, and in the morning I had an email from somebody saying, hey, look, we're really keen to find out about what this is. What do you guys offer? Can we have a chat? And I was like buzzing, because I was like, yes, this is cool. So and because I'm passionate about helping people get out and do their own thing, it was quite a lengthy conversation. I think we were probably on the phone for a good couple of hours just chatting about, how we want to do things differently. So she actually is with us. Her name's Andrea. So she has Love Live Kapiti in the Kapiti. And so Andrea was one of the very first officers to on board with us. And she'd come from a big national brand as well, and just wanted to have that flexibility, know that she was giving her clients the best that she could serve them with, and not be tainted sometimes by others that might be working within that brand that may not necessarily be of the same cloak. So that was great. That was really exciting. And then it's just taken its effect from there. So we're growing, and there's always room for more growth and more expansion. We're growing and learning every day, but it's pretty exciting.
Tell me, you mentioned before how nerve-wracking it was when you started KC & Co., your own brand. You'd been through the process of starting up your own business. When it came to doing it a second time with launching a new business and really a new concept, how did you feel? Was it the same? Did it become easier?
Yeah, I guess it was different. Yeah, it wasn't. I was nervous, and to be fair, I'm still nervous. Like every day, I'm still nervous about, what can we do better, or how can we grow this more? It's still there. And I think it's like if I relate it to real estate and doing an appraisal, it's not necessarily nervous. I don't think that's the right word. But something sitting in your gut going, make sure you do your best, always provide, always do. That's still in me. And so I wasn't nervous about, I was not anxious. I had butterflies. So it was like exciting butterflies, exciting mixed with anxious. But I definitely wasn't as hesitant to get things started as what I was when I started KC & Co, because of the fact that I'm already here, I'm doing it. It was like, well, we're just going to give it a go and see if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh, well, I tried it. Whereas leaving the comfort of a franchise and then going into my own, that was definitely more scary. But yeah, this is different. This was a different concept. It was like, okay, well, I've spent some money. All I can do is lose it if it doesn't work, or the upside of it is it works and I make some money. So we'll give it a go and just see. And it's definitely paying off or paid off. It's good. And it's like what I love the most about Agent X is seeing the teams that come into it, or the people that come into it, and seeing how we can assist them, but also watching them grow their own businesses, watching their earning capacities change from what they had within a franchise to what they now have. That blows my mind, watching them turn this business, and then they ring us and say, shit, this is the best month we've ever had. We've never did what we've done in the last quarter is nowhere near what we did in the last, when they look back, and like that's good, that's gold. Because the idea of Agent X is that we are allowing that the salespeople choose their own commission rates and choose what they're doing with their commissions. We do take a fee from the commission, but it's not a fee like the franchise fee. And so they're definitely earning more money, so it's good. But people like supporting people. People like supporting local people. If they know you've got a good name around town, they want to support you. That's why when I left, pushed, left, whatever. when I started Casey and Co, like I had so many text messages from people saying, "Well done, we heard you've gone out on your own. This is awesome. Well done, you." Like the support was phenomenal. And even down years later, people I remember would have been maybe 2 years after we started Casey and Co, and a lady rang me to go and list her property, and I always ask, "Hey, how did you hear about us?" And she said, "Oh, I followed you when you were at your other company. In fact, I'd met her back in Harcourts, way back at the beginning, and she'd followed me all these years. And she said, I saw that you'd gone out on your own, and I always said to myself, when I sell, I want to sell with you because you've gone out and done your own thing, and, blah, I think that's admirable," all of those sorts of real positive, kind things to say. So that was pretty awesome. And so we get that, like we hear that when our agent salespeople ring us and they're like, "Oh, so we've just had this really good feedback," and like I love that for them because it's their growth.
One thing that you've mentioned a few of these times is team. So throughout this process, whether it sounded like your brother, your husband, your admin staff.
Yeah.
What do you like? Could have you just done this on your own? I guess I'm leading with that question, but where do you put the team in part of all this? Is it all just been you?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think I might have said it at the start actually, is that it's sometimes people get caught up and think it is just about one person, but it's actually a team that makes everything work. What's that saying? Teamwork makes the dream work. And that it's 100% true. Like, and if someone thinks that they're the best in their team, like they are the top salesperson or I am the best, well, that's just ego driven. But I fully believe that it was a team effort to get KC and Co running. Like I said, Trade Me, Property Press, my admin team that were around me at the time, family, marketing teams, all of that sort of thing. That it was all part and parcel. We were a team to get there, and it's the same with having the thought process around, just talking out my ideas around, hey, I've got this idea about Agent X. What do you think? Again, it was a team thing. People were like, yeah, give it a go. Let's just see what happens. And now the team that I've got with me has grown from KC & Co, because obviously now we have Agent X team as well. And the administration operations team in there are phenomenal. And it's nothing, we couldn't do it without them, basically. We're all together, and it is the team. We drive it together. And it's important and so this is what we also offer to anyone coming into Agent X is we offer them that team support. So yeah, team's important. You can't do it by yourself.
How do you feel, or how would you describe yourself as a boss? Or even how would your employees describe you as a boss?
Do you want me to ask them? That's how I'm a boss bitch now. Well, one of them told me the other day that I was their idol. And then the other one said, how much did she get paid to say that? I'm pretty sure, like some of my staff have been here for a very long time with me, alongside me. They've all been with me since KC & Co started. So that's coming up 6 years. And then the Agent X team have been here since 2021. So we're coming up 4 years. So I'm guessing we do have I believe we have a real fun team environment. We're all a bit quirky, tiny bit nuts, but it all works together. We all bounce off of each other. It's important to have a good team. And
look, full disclosure for those that don't necessarily know us is that we have been business partners together. You have worked for me. I have worked for you. We have had some doozy fights, but yet we're still here talking today, which is great.
Yeah, well, like I just said, we're a little bit nuts.
Oh, is that?
There's a little bit of nuts in there. No, but you're right. It's come through the other side.
How do you introduce yourself? Are you a real estate salesperson, business owner, entrepreneur, mum? How do you describe yourself if someone starts?
When I'm talking to who? Anyway, I'm just Kat. Hi, I'm Kat. But, Nelson is a very small place, so most people know who I am and what I do. So I'm
what do you think of yourself as? Entrepreneur, business owner, salesperson? Yeah. Where do you see yourself as?
I'm an ideas person. I just call myself a business owner. director. Yeah, bossy old bag.
Okay, well, actually, talking about, being in Nelson, New Zealand, and being known by a lot of people, part of that help, I guess, was Dancing for a Cause, which, for those that don't know, is basically like Dancing with the Stars, but on a local level and a local platform, of course, where you have both learned how to dance and raised a lot of money. So tell me about that experience. How did you get involved? What did you learn from it? And anything you can tell us about that journey.
Well, it was 2 years ago. They're actually got the next one coming up next weekend with the next lot of local celebs dancing their hearts out. So I've been involved with hospice. So Dancing for a Cause is a charity cause for fundraiser for hospice, Nelson Hospice, and so I've been involved with hospice since forever. 2010, when I started in real estate, I started putting a lot of donation towards hospice. And then Dancing for a Cause, which was, like Mitch said, the old Dancing for a Stars, but on a local level, using local known peoples. And so I'd done a couple of sponsorships with them on that, and then in 2022 I got asked if I would be interested in being one of the dancers, and I was just like, yeah, sure. So again, go back to my team and I'm like, hey, guess what? We're doing Dancing for a Cause. And there's a heap of fundraising that we all need to help with. So, but again, amazing team. Everyone jumped in, had my neighbours helping, everyone from around the street, whatever. Like, it was great. So we had a lot of support from local businesses. I did some fundraising, and then so I think we only had like 6 or 8 weeks or something to learn this dance, and I'm pretty good on the D floor with a few bevies, but there was definitely no drinks on that night, I can assure you. And so we had to learn this dance. I had the Paso Pablo, I think it was called, I can't remember. It was really fun. It was a great experience, high fitness. It was real good. And then danced our little hearts out for 3 minutes. When I first heard the song and saw what I had to do, I was at the beginning, before I'd learnt anything, I was like, how the heck am I going to get around the whole floor doing all of those moves in 3 minutes? I just can't see it. But I was like, again, can't give up, have to keep going, got to do it, can't fail. You're going in front of 2,500 people, you can't look like an idiot. So just got out there, did it, had a great time. Won People's Choice Award, so didn't get first, but that's okay. We got People's Choice Award, so that was good. And so then next weekend I'm going to be sitting in the audience. I am going to partake in viewing people doing the dance next weekend, so that will be fun.
How much did you end up raising for hospice?
I think that myself personally, I think I was around about maybe 50, 60 grand. But overall, there were 10 of us dancers, and I think it was around about 450,000 or something like that for hospice. But this year, one of the girls, one of the dancers, she's trumping. Like, she's had houses donated. She's had, good on her. She's done really well. I think she's raised like 250,000 just by herself. So that's pretty impressive.
But they need it. Hospice is a great cause.
100%. Yeah.
Hey, can I just ask a few maybe quick fire questions, but in terms of business? First of all, like growth and mindset.
Yeah.
What's been your biggest mindset shift as a business owner?
The biggest mind shift as an owner, you just got to keep looking forward. Yeah, you absolutely. Every day that I get up, it's what's forward. It's not about right now. It's about what are we looking for in the future? Where are we going? It's always keeping the eyes down the road, not right in front of you. Because if you keep them right in front of you, you might miss out on what's coming ahead. So I'm just always constantly got to keep looking ahead. What's coming.
What do you think's the best investment you've made in yourself or your business?
In myself, I would two things. I've always had across the years business coaching. And personal development, business coaches, and I totally rate that, because it's not about going to a coach and they give you the ideas, they ask the right questions, and you've already got the idea and you've no doubt got the answer. You just have to find it. So I had my first lot of business coaching. I'd never had a business coach in all my life until I came into real estate, and I had my first business coach. I would have been around about 2013, and I'd had it was when I just done the transition between the two franchises, and I was having major strife about had I made the right move. I'd not long lost my mum, and so I was like really emotional. I was thinking, God, have I made this move emotionally? Have I done the wrong thing? And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get back on track. Maybe I just quit. That's it. Maybe I just quit. And so I ended up going to a very structured business coach, and it was honestly the best thing that I ever did. It pulled me. She didn't, but the materials we're working on, the thought process, the putting it all down, and again looking ahead, that it pulled me out of that rut. And then so I've had business coaches several times across the years. It's no good just having a 6-week course or a 6-week session. You need to make it, a chunk. I'm talking 6 months was a minimum that I'd normally have, and because it takes ages to see the change. Or just to be able to focus on something to work towards a change. So that would definitely, again, it's not a cheap thing to do, but it was definitely a worthwhile thing to do. And the other would be, can I have two more? One other investment would be, I used to belong to a networking group, which was called BNI,
mm-hmm.
Business
Networking International.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, so I started off with them when I was brand new into real estate. Didn't know anybody, didn't know any business owners, didn't even know how to talk to a business owner because it would make me scared. I didn't really. Then I started BNI, and I was like, okay, I just need to get into this. I need to meet people of like mine. I need to get connections. And yeah, again, it costs money to go there every week and a membership yearly. But I stayed within BNI for 10 years, and I've still got amazing connections from my BNI groups that I've been with over the years. Still do a lot of business with them, but yeah, it was those two. And the other investment that is and continues to be really important is investments into taking time out of the business and going and having a break somewhere. Whether it's just sitting in the hot pools or heading to the coast or heading overseas, whatever, that investment and taking time out is equally as important as actually spending the money on the business coach. Because you need to have a bit of downtime, you need to be able to clear your head and have some space. So I program that into my diary that I've got something every 6 to 8 weeks, even if it's just a couple of days off. Or if it might be a week or whatever, but I try and have something every 6 to 8 weeks so that I can just have a defrag.
I chat to actually so many business owners, and that's one thing that they don't do because they feel they can't. What would you say to them?
Okay. But what would your business do if you weren't there, like gone completely because you've crashed and burned, you've burnt out, had a mental breakdown, health is bugged out on you because you haven't been taking the time? You've got no business, so what's the point of it all? That's my, you need to have this as your well-being and fitness shake up every 6 to 8 weeks, because then you can give more back to your team as well, because you come back fresh. By not implementing it, I believe that's a health hazard to your business and to your need to be able to do that.
I'd agree. How do you, you've got lots going on, okay? So we've got Agent X, KC & Co, selling. There's other investments going on in the background, I'm pretty sure. Property, all this stuff. How do you structure a week to stay productive and sane?
Okay, anyone and everyone that watches this is going to laugh. I still have a diary.
That's good. I mean, manual as opposed to online. Yeah. Yeah,
I do have it online, but I have a paper diary. I've had a paper diary all of my working life. And it's how if I can see it written down, it's like they say, if it's on Facebook, it's real. If it's written in my diary, it's real. It's got to happen. It's a tick list. It's a check sheet. It's things that are coming up in the future. I mean, I keep it. Maybe it's a double up. If someone could figure out, there'll be some smart kid out there that'll be able to do this, to get my diary, my paper diary to automatically merge with my, without me doing anything, with my online, it'd be perfect. But I manage my day by, and what's coming up. I still run a paper diary, and that works best for me,
Just don't lose it.
Don't lose it. Yeah, I do have panic attacks about that.
Hey, what do you think is one system, process, or tool that changed the game for you besides your paper calendar?
I'm not really sure. It's a combination of, like what changed say that again, Mitch?
Like, is there anything that you reckon's changed the game for you in business in terms of how you approach it, what you do, a system, a tool?
No, I think it's a combination of, changing things through the years. Like if I think back to just going into real estate, and if I think back to the beginning when I first started, we used to take photos on an actual camera that we would take, and it's like no one even had like a digital camera. I thought it was flash because I turned up with a digital camera. And then you get a smartphone, and then you start taking them on your phone, and it's like, hold on a minute, well, why don't we use a photographer? It's a combination of things. It's the same thing with social media and advertising online and digital and versus print, and a little bit of Cat GPT, or all these different tools that are out. It's mind-boggling what is out there, and we probably only touch on an absolute fraction of what we've got, even within our own CRM systems that we use. We're only scratching the surface of what it's probably capable of doing. Not afraid to try anything. I'll give anything a go. If someone says, "Oh, look, this will work better," I do like if we're talking teams and things like that. If we're talking about particular products, we do use Teams quite a lot. Like that's been a big game changer for us, keeping everything in one space, chats, having all different groups within there, video call, all of that sort of thing. That's been a big changer, because then obviously you can add in different things like Trello and Xero and on and on and on it goes. But that's been quite a changer for us.
Okay. Hey, listen, I heard before that you said, hey, someone actually looks up to you. There are actually probably quite a few people that look up to you.
I look up to most people because they're way taller than me.
But talking about, I guess, those younger people, maybe girls in real estate, someone just starting out, what's a piece of advice that you would give to them if they're listening right now?
The same advice I'd give to someone that came to me and said, I've had a shit day, it's a hard day. I'd say, don't give up. Just keep going. Put your smile on. In fact, if you ask Dylan, so those that don't know, Dylan is my son, and he's been working with me for a few years, and he started working with me when he was about 17 or 18. And I would always say to him, you have to practice your smile, because your smile is your business card. So no matter what, you need to make sure that you've got a good smile, so that people feel comfortable by that. So that's have a good smile, be approachable, be clear and concise, but don't give up. Just keep going.
I've got a younger son who goes to primary school, and I actually teach him the same thing. Every morning we go, I kind of push him a little bit just to smile and say hello to people, because he's fairly quiet. So that approach of being the first to say hello, smiling to people, is only little, but makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference, because it shows that you've got the confidence to do that, and everything that we do is based around confidence. In a business, you have to have confidence that you're selling the right product to people, that you're confident in what you're selling. So, and in our game, in my game, I'm selling myself to gain business. I'm selling to a vendor. I'm selling to a buyer. So I need them to feel that they can trust me. So like I said to Dylan, just practice your smile. He calls it my Avon calling smile.
Hey, won't hold you too much longer, but in New Zealand there's a lot of tall poppy syndrome. As Kiwis, I guess, we don't like to blow our own trumpet.
Nah.
In saying that, what can you tell me about what you're most proud of?
Most proud of outside of, you mean within the work side of things?
Yeah, you can give me both.
Yeah, or outside of work, I'm most proud of what my family does, driving and trying and doing and getting on and doing stuff. Within my work life, I'm most proud of the team that surrounds me, and that I have to work with, and what we've done, like where I've come from. I remember sitting in the office on my very first day in real estate, and one of the long-standing salespeople that have been around forever almost made me cry. And I was like, don't cry in front of him. It'll be really embarrassing. Wait till you get home. And then my mum rings me and she was like, how was your first day? And I said, so-and-so nearly made me cry. And she said,
how'd they make you cry? How'd they nearly make you cry?
Because he asked me why I came to real estate, and I said, because so cliche, because I love property and being out and about with people. And he was like, you shot me down. And then when I told my mum what he'd said, and my mum knew him, she was like, do you want me to ring him? I was like, no. I was in my mid-30s. She was like, I can ring him. I was like, please don't ring him. But it was, sorry, I've gone on a tangent there, but it's just like, I still remember that day, and it's like, nuts, got to keep going.
Hey, listen, Kat, I really appreciate your time. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there within the real estate industry that will find this really interesting, would have learned a lot. There are people that are outside the real estate industry as well that have picked up on some of the things about just keep going, keep pushing, don't give up, and smile along the way. Let's talk small business. I appreciate you tuning in. If you got value, hit subscribe, like, or drop a comment. It spreads the word and might just help another legend get their breakthrough.